we continue to look at banned cards in Pauper, because apparently there's a lot of them. Continuing with Mystic Sanctuary. This is a card that has actually been banned in more than just Pauper, also banned in Modern, so hey, we gotta take a look at this. Land, island, Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield tapped unless you control 3 or more other islands. When Mystic Sanctuary enters the battlefield untapped, you may put target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard on the top of your library. Now, this was grossly abused with fetch lands in Modern. So you just go land drop, land drop, land drop, and then play fetch, crack it, go get your Mystic Sanctuary. Very funny design that they make this an island. It's a good effect. It's pretty darn good. In fact, in some ways I miss it, even though I never got to play with it in Modern. But it basically turned every single... It turned every single land into a vampiric tutor, more or less, for your graveyard. If that makes sense. So you could get, like, you could recycle things from your graveyard over and over again. But how do you use this in Pauper? Do they have fetch lands? They have, like, I mean, they have some fetch lands, but they're, like, really, really bad. They have stuff like, what's it called? They're so bad I don't even know what they are. Sanctuary is busted as F with stuff like Ghostly Flicker. So did it have the same problem as something like Astrolabe had, where they just flicker the land constantly? The Flicker decks took, like, supreme abuse to this card. KBG says, I don't miss this card. Infinite Counterspells. Well, Infinite Counterspells are useless if you have Cavern of Souls. Cavern of Souls or, oh, sorry guys. It is too loud. Okay, music is down. We put the music down. Sanctuary is gross. Fetches just push it into completely unreasonability. But there are, like, what fetch lands are there in Pauper? There's it's that one that fetches for, like, a basic land and puts it into play tapped. And that's about it. And they have, like, a few copies of that, I believe. Daze, Gush, and this seems fun. But they're banned! So, Daze and Gush are banned from the format. How do they abuse Mystic Sanctuary? Even before you get Ghostly Flicker, you can abuse it with bounce lands like Core Sky Fissure. Yes, you can absolutely do that. Core Sky Fissure. Although, you know, we're going deep into the game here. Because this has to be, like, turn... Well, I guess it can be turn 4. You play your Mystic Sanctuary, untap, play the Sky Fissure, put it back into your hand. Those new Capenna fetches would suck for it. Oh, yes, Ash Barrens, Evolving Wilds, and Terramorphic Expanse. These are all the fetch lands of Pauper. Wasn't there a point when Daze, Gush and this were all allowed? There might have been, but they're gone now. So how abusable would this card be today? I agree. If you can Daze and Gush and get value out of this thing at the same time, that's pretty good. But at the moment, is it only flickering it? Is there any, like, it's only blue-white control? Sorry, not, like, blue-white flicker is the only way you can abuse this card? This doesn't look that good, but maybe I have to see it in play. With the really good cards like Daze and Gush banned, that's chop the legs on Mystic Sanctuary. Big time. Cryptic Command Loop. Well, yeah, in Modern, but not in Pauper. Yeah, thanks for letting me know. I turned the music down. So can anyone prove that this is good in Pauper? If no, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna say that this is this. Oh, Deprive uses this. Oh yeah, we still have Deprive that format, don't we? We do have Deprive. You Deprive, put this back into your hand, replay the Mystic Sanctuary, get your Deprive back. Oh, there we go. Actually, there is a combo. So Deprive is a very funny counterspell. where you are constantly, as an additional cost to cast Deprive, return a land you control to its owner's hand, counter target spell. They play a spell, Deprive. Put the Mystic Sanctuary back into my hand. I take my turn. Replay that Mystic Sanctuary. Put Deprive back on top of the library. It just makes blue-red decks way too powerful. Putting Op back on top of your deck is too OP. Really? I mean, that could be true. In the late game, you just put an Opt on top of your deck, and now you can just look a little... You're going to draw a card, and you have a bunch of mana anyway, because you have at least 4 mana, and then you can look pretty deep. Is Brainstorm legal in Pauper? Oh, you better believe it is. You better believe it is. Abandoned Historic, legal everywhere else. Pauper, very legal. Does Pauper have Gift Storm? No, they don't. They don't have it at all. Okay, so maybe this card probably is very good. I would have to see it. I would have to see it in action, but okay, we'll assume that this thing still is worthy of being banned. All right, moving on. Oh, here's an interesting card. Peregrine Drake. I want to see the original Peregrine Drake. That's the Peregrine Drake I remember from my childhood. Saw it all the time. So blue for generic, 2/3 flyer. When Peregrine Drake comes into play, untap up to 5 lands. So you basically get to play a free creature. Is there any good way to abuse? I mean, I think there are some decks that abuse cards like this to achieve infinite mana. Did this card get abused any more than just being a free 2/3 creature to play? Spencer Ward asks, I'm curious how broken Brainstorm would be in Modern. Not many decks play a plethora of cantrips these days. It would be insanely broken. It is ancestral, just trust me, it's ancestral recall. The Drake was part in an infinite combo. When Pauper can't deal with infinite combos, you tell me. I'm gonna assume, okay, is that it? Ghostly Flicker plus Wall of Omens. Here's the battlefield. Untap up to... Hold on, what's Ghostly Flicker again? Exile 2 target artifacts, creatures, and/or lands you control. Then return those cards to the battlefield under your control. Oh, maybe this was for Mystic Sanctuary. I don't know how that works with this. They need to make Force of Will common, yeah, to say... To help... Well, I don't think the Pauper format would be appreciative of this. Blue already has a lot of cards banned on the ban list and is still doing pretty well. Peregrine seems like super snap on legs and in the air. We can deal with infinite combos, just not in blue. Oh yeah, of course. The color that can defend with their infinite combo. There is infinite creature goblin combos, combo decks in Pauper too. Yeah, I saw... I don't know if there was an infinite... There was an infinite mana combo I saw in the Spice 8-Rack versus Ristic Studies Pauper match on Tolarian Community College's YouTube channel. There was an infinite loop demonstrated. I think it could have been broken by some removal, but removal was not had at that point. Okay, yes, clone ETB is a replacement effect, and you get the ETBs of what you clone. Good morning, the amazing Wally. No, the walls were part of the Drake combo. So what's the exact combo, though? Drake, wall... I guess Ghost, some sort of Flicker card? Or is it that you Ghostly Flicker... Wait, what was Ghostly Flicker again? So you can flicker, I guess, the Peregrine Drake and the Omen. That draws you a card and gives you a ton of mana. Combo done. You blink the Drake. Mnemonic Wall. Okay, hold on. There's a different wall here. Mnemonic Wall. It's a different... We gotta see a different wall. Okay, this has Defender. When there's a battlefield, you may return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. So you can get Ghostly Flicker. So you have infinite mana here. Okay, you have infinite mana. Untap some Tron bounce lands and get infinite mana, like for a Fireball. Okay, so this is infinite mana. Mnemonic Wall and Peregrine Drake and Ghostly Flicker will do it. Because then you blink, you get the mana. Then you get the Mnemonic Wall that will blink and get your Ghostly Flicker back, and you just do it all over again. And you net mana every single time you do it. You keep floating mana, and then you go to the sky. All right, well, I guess it's got to stay banned. It's got to stay banned. We don't have a solution to this card. This is a really bizarre one. Prophetic Prism. What is up with this? Oh, it's a slightly more expensive Arkham's Astrolabe, isn't it? 2 mana, enters the battlefield, draw a card. Pay 1, tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Interesting. Ghostly Flicker strikes again. Maybe we should just be banning Ghostly Flicker. Why isn't Ghostly Flicker banned? It seems to be banning all these other cards. If Astrolabe is banned, why not this in Pauper? Well, I mean, this is slightly more expensive. This costs 2 mana. The Astrolabe only costs 1. But I think we can agree that if this card is good enough to be banned, I'm just curious, was this banned first, then Astrolabe? Or did they like ban Astrolabe and after enough time they banned the Prophetic Prism as well? Prism was a card banned intended to stop Tron from playing literally all the cards. Tron can go 5 color with Prism. Ah. So it's Tron's fault this time. Prophetic Prism is what they banned to take Expedition Map off the ban list. Oh, so they did a switcheroo there. Because Expedition Map did used to be there. Alright, Pauper. You have an Expedition Map. And I'm talking as behalf of the ban list. You have Expedition Map back. We'll take your Prophetic Prism. More like Pathetic Prism, am I right? Hold on, do I got something for here? I do. Astrolabe was banned. So Astrolabe was banned first, and they just didn't like Tron just completely taking over. Ken says, hey Nikachu, Ferocity question. Does Stubborn Denial turn into a 1 mana counterspell if you meet the Ferocity requirement on turn 1? If you somehow do that. Oops, what am I looking for? Stubborn Denial. If you control a creature for power 4 or greater, counter that spell instead. Yes. If you can somehow have a 4 power creature in play. Yeah, you could do this on turn 1. Absolutely. Renmuke says, I love using Prophetic Prism with my Trading Post deck back when it was standard. Spencer Ward, as a mid-range player, I found that there's a problem. When there's a problem, it's safe to blame Tron. Or Affinity. Or Storm. Apparently. Modern used to have the same problems. We blame Storm and Affinity. It's all their fault. Tron had a very high win rate. Now it's almost dead. I remember that. I was looking at the Tron win rates on MTG Goldfish and MTG Top 8. And Tron was above and beyond, like, #1. And I'm like, well, of course, the Tron lands. That's interesting. So chopping their legs off with Prophetic Prism actually mattered. So yes, we're going to say this is worth staying banned. That is a banned card. Hey Nikachu, I've never built a Pauper deck before. Can you suggest a fun control deck for Pauper? I don't play Pauper either. Oh my god, Millmaster! Oh my god. $100. I was playing chess with my friend and he said, let's make this interesting. So we stopped playing chess. Is this a real story? This sounds like a pretty good internet joke. Thank you so much for the 100. I think this is like the largest. I think this is the largest donate, like one-shot donation I've received. I think I've received more donations in smaller chunks, but that's insane. Okay, that deserves another. Thank you so much. Millmaster won the lottery. Remember, infinite mana doesn't exist. You must determine a specific number. Oh yes, of course. Additionally, the number needs to be divisible by the increments of whatever / however you're gaining mana. True story. We're going through these pretty quickly. The conversation isn't going too deep. Oh, why did they ban this card? They banned the Sojourner's Companion. Now I can't say Sojourner anymore. And if they ban this, like, why didn't they ban the other guy? Or is the other guy an uncommon? It's like 1,000,000 Tinbits. It is 1,000,000 Tinbits. I like the coconut Timbits, but it's hard to find a Tim Hortons that has coconut Timbits. Because the other guy has no land cycling, so the land cycling put this over the top. Oh my god, this is busted. We're gonna ban this. That land cycling, people. Is it really for that? I doubt it. Mirror Enforcer was a common, pretty sure. Yeah, me too. Yeah, it's common. So they just literally weakened the affinity deck like this by a little bit. They're like, okay, you can have a Mirror Enforcer, but you can't have 2 Mirror Enforcers. Too many. Was before the Atog ban. So what we're saying is it may not be nearly as dangerous as it used to be. Affinity was dominating, and they didn't want to ban Atog. And then they banned the Atog, so as we all know from the previous shows, Atog is dead. It's banned. Super banned in Pauper. Our hearts go out to the Atog. But now that it's gone, and because they banned Atog, and they banned what else did they ban? They banned cranial plating. Yeah, they banned cranial plating too. I think I don't know if this deserves to still be on the ban list. I heard word on the street from my comment section is like Affinity is still doing really well, but MTG Goldfish cannot determine what's an Affinity deck right now, and they're just not representing it, period. But it sounds like this is still like worthy of this still looks like it's plenty worthy of seeing play. Affinity, like Tron and Storm, has been in a perpetual problem deck, LOL. This is one of those bans they made to avoid banning the artifact duels. Does anyone think the artifact duel should be banned? Cranial plating was banned a long time ago. Prism also hits Affinity. Did they play Prism? 4/4s are hard to deal with in Pauper, considering it's almost free to play, and also it dodges Lightning Bolt, I think one of the most popular removal spells. Prizzles! Thank you so much for the $5. Yo, Andrus, you're pretty cute date. Haha, just kidding, you smell. Is this quoted somewhere? Anyway, thanks for the $5. Oh, it's it talking to Andrus down here. The Pauper format panel said that they discussed about unbanning Companion after banning Disciple the Vault. And what? They said no? That's a no-go? I do not like seeing my Salamander banned, even though I've never played with the Salamander. Honestly, the Artifact Duels is just waiting to be broken. In Pauper and Modern? Maybe they should ban Artifact lands in Pauper instead in Modern. Would that help a lot? It might. It might not. Cranial plating will still be insanely good. Artifact lands duels should have been... Or at least they should have been uncommon. Why did they print them at common? They could have been printed at uncommon. I really don't think they make that big of a deal in Modern. They don't make that big of a deal in Modern. No, the rumor is that hidden treasures are coming back. So when we have more substantiated, it's a strong rumor though. So it sounds like hidden treasures are coming back, which by the way is Wizards of the Coast buying dual lands or reserve list cards on the market and then putting them into packs. Probably to celebrate Magic 30. Can we just... Oh, absolutely. This is a 10 out of 10 art. 10 out of 10 name. Greed Modern, I really don't mind Affinity. It was like pretty dead otherwise. Not confirmed. Very strong rumor though. Very, very strong rumor. As is tradition, Horizon sets must break a format somehow. Anyway, I think this does not belong on the ban list. I think they should take it off, give it a try. If Affinity is too good, okay, then ban it again. We had to do... I think there should have been a trade. I think there should have been a trade after they banned Disciple of the Vault and a Tog and everything else. They took everything from Affinity. This is literally Mirror Enforcer. And you have Mirror Enforcer legal. So what is wrong with this one? That is so weird to just... Okay, you can have 4, but you can't have 8. You know, I think if that is too much, you ban Mirror Enforcer with it. So, yeah, ban Mirror Enforcer instead. Trade with Mirror Enforcer, damn it. So, I think this first one, I would take it off the ban list. Alright, next we've got Temporal Fissure. I'm gonna go to the Scourge one. Return target permanent to its owner's hand and Storm. Ooh, that could be so ugly even in a Storm. How many turns would that buy in a Storm deck? Because you could get this off pretty quickly, right? Again, this is like a Storm card. Storm card. Should it be banned? Should it stay banned? Yeah, I'm not even gonna go too deep. Like, what can happen is, it says permanent. If it was non-land permanent, it wouldn't be so bad. But because it's permanent, like by turn 3, after you've played your spells, you got 3 lands out, Temporal Fissure it all back to your hand. Basically drawing it. I mean, it effectively draws you a bunch of cards, right? Because for every turn that they have to replay things, I mean, you probably buy yourself at least 3 turns from there. Yeah, basically another Storm card. Next, not known as Temporal Fissure. Yeah. It pawns a Storm. I didn't know this card existed. And at common at that. Since a Tog is banned, can we downshift Mega Tog to common instead? The Mega Tog. You want this thing? Sacrifice an artifact. Mega Tog gets +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. Would this be playable? Could they cast this? It's 6 mana. So it sounds like there's no discussion here. We're not. Did anyone play against this, or was this banned like a really long time ago? It was banned at when they forged the format. We got a downshift Blood Moon first Retrinosphere. The horrible memories. Oh, KBG was there. KBG was in the trenches. There we go. Banned for a while. Alright. Temporal Fissure, it's been banned. It's been a while. And we all agree that Storm can easily abuse this, because they abuse everything else. Treasure Cruise. Oh, man. It's just waiting to get banned in, like, every format. It'll never get banned in Commander, but, like, look at this. Legacy, Modern, Pauper, Pioneer. You're next, Pioneer. You are next. And you could be the next Oko. How many formats is Oko banned? And Explore. Actually, it'll never be Oko. Okay. You'll never get to Oko power. Draw 3 is fine. Delve to be broken. But they don't have... Well, they do have fetch lands. Sorry, I forgot. I forgot about it. Terramorph Expanse and stuff like that. Ban in Pioneer. Some people, you guys think it's too good for Pioneer already? It's time for... it will eat a ban eventually. There's no way you can have this thing just roaming around, even without fetch lands. It will eat a ban one day in Pioneer. Pauper is basically all the good 1-mana cantrips already. Treasure Cruise is an easy ban. Oops. How long did it last? How long did Treasure Cruise last in the format before they banned it? A week? A month? 2 months? 3 months? A year? How long was it until they were sick of it? Because, I mean, traditionally, blue has been very strong in the format. You got Daze and Gush and Foil, Counterspell, Ponder, Brainstorm. That's crazy how many good cards they had. And they had Treasure Cruise on top of all of that. Mr. DJ Long, always a great to see you this morning. Good morning to you. Cruise 100% needs a Pioneer ban. Pioneer players are sick of this card already. In Pioneer Phoenix, you don't play for Treasure Cruise. You'd rather play the Time Warp with Delver and copy it. Treasure Cruise could cost 12 in a blue and it'd still probably be broken. Probably. It's funny, they put this really high cost on it and it wasn't high enough. I bet maybe at 12 it would still be... maybe at 12 it would be enough. There's like a... Somehow getting to 7... They can, after you've emptied your hand, you have like 7 cards in your graveyard. They always have 7 cards in their graveyard. You think in Commander, like, this card is for just Ancestral majority of the time, of course. So did anyone play against this in Pauper? No? Anyway. Does this belong on the ban list? Absolutely. Don't let the blue decks run away with the show. Don't let them do it. Man, it must have been really fun playing Treasure Cruise and Pauper at the time. High Tide is banned. This is the only format that it's banned. Very funny. High Tide, 1 blue. I want to see the original High Tide. Here, this one. This is pretty iconic High Tide. From Fallen Empires. Blue. Until end of turn, all islands produce an additional blue when tapped for mana. What on earth was this played in? Or is this another storm card of some sort? We need to construct additional mana. Was never legal. They snap banned it from the beginning. Can't even unban High Tide. Like, where does this go? Where does this go? Is it really a storm card? Storm again. High Tide plus Mystic Sanctuary never saw the light of day. Easy way to play many blue mechanics. Chris Ross says, Nikachu, if the Delve mechanic was modified to every 2 cards you exile from your graveyard, do you think it would fix anything? No, I don't think it changes anything, because you could just, like, then you just double the number on the original Delve cards, that's all. It would make some Delve cards unplayable. High Tide is bad. It would destroy the format. How? High Tide would slot into the Ghostly Flicker combo deck, replacing the Soul Land. Okay. High Tide with Peregrine Drake seems nuts, but it's banned. Peregrine Drake is banned. What, you guys want to play unbanned, no ban Pauper? There's got to be a community out there for that. Bubbling Muck is legal. Bubbling Muck. Until end of turn, whenever a player taps a swamp for mana, it produces an additional black. There we go. Legal in Pauper. It's legal down here. See? So we saying we saying that this is too good. I don't know. Did anyone play test with this card before? Has it ever seen play? When was it banned? High Tide just seems like a crazy ritual that allows you to play all the cards you drew with your broken blue cantrips. Yeah, but how does that work out like that? Like, how many lands do you have in play? Why do you... Let's say you have 4 or 5 lands in play. Why do you have so many cantrips in your hand at this point? Ooh, so it has been around for a while. Got banned. Okay, let's look up high. You know what? Why don't we look up the history to some of these banned cards? We gotta look up the history. Okay, so what's got banned? High Tide banned Pauper. Go look up banned and restricted announcement. I can't find the one with... Did they delete it? Okay, hold on. Maybe there was nothing in the... Maybe there was nothing there. Okay, Hipsters of the Coast. High Tide... 2019. High Tide, Hymn to Tourach, and Sinkhole banned in Pauper. With the newly announced unification of the Pauper format, Wizards of the Coast is preemptively banning 3 cards that would have been added to the format. High Tide, Hymn to Tourach, and Sinkhole. 400 plus new cards will be added to the Pauper when cards that were printed at Common in paper, but not on Magic Online, become legal in Pauper on July 2nd, 2019. Oh, the unification of the ban lists. These cards included High Tide and Merchant Scroll, which together form the core of a powerful combo that would have been legal. Wizards said that the combo would have been too strong for the format, and that they believed that they had to ban at least one of the pieces. In their opinion, High Tide was the more narrow and difficult to interact with spell, while Merchant Scroll can be played in decks other than combo-focused lists, so they decided to ban High Tide. Hear that? You hear that, Merchant Scroll? You got to live. Merchant Scroll got to live, so High Tide gets to be banned. So we don't even... Did this card even see play then? So I guess it saw play maybe in paper? Yeah, look up. I just did. Okay, well, I don't know. Is this good enough to get banned? I guess. I guess. I'm on a maybe of this because I don't know what that metagame looked like with High Tide, and just as demonstrated, we have a High Tide in the format anyway. It's not in blue, it's in black, but like there's something there. Alright, now we're getting to all the other cards listed in that article. Hymn to Tourach. Is this so bad? I don't think this is ban-worthy at all. I don't get it. It's just card disadvantage. I mean, it's just card advantage in the form of like making your opponent discard cards at random. It combos with Snap and oh yeah, the Snap card. I understand. Yeah, anything that will untap your lands. Talking about High Tide. Now I don't see this card being banned in anywhere. I think you can print this in Modern. Like it's only banned in one format, Pauper. Why? Why? Is there something I'm missing here? Dark Ritual legal. Then you lost 2 cards yourself. It's 2 for 2. That's actually worse. It's way worse that way. If you play Dark Ritual Hymn to Tourach, then you burn 2 cards to exchange 2 random cards from your opponent. Him is like Wrench Mind, but better. That's true. I don't think Wrench Mind is broken either. Him is very certainly good, but I don't think it's not broken. All it is just like, yeah, maybe occasionally hit your land and there's going to be a non-game. But it also could just not. You can take their lands on turn 2 and make non-games. It's just unfun. So it's banned for being unfun. It is not a powerful card. Him is super strong, especially for a slow format like Pauper. Actually, that proves that it's... in my opinion, it would say that it's poor, because then you'll at least get to the late game eventually. Like, you can't discard what's on top of your opponent's deck. So you make your land drops, you play your cards, then of Him to Tourach eventually will be a dead card. You'll top deck better. This is like the same thing with Grief. Everyone thought Grief was going to blow people out. Grief plus Ephemerate, it's all over. That is like the weakest use of Ephemerate at this point. You know? you like exiling a card from your hand to play Grief and play Ephemerate. That costs you 2 cards. It costs you 3 cards, and you strip 3 cards from your opponent's hand, and it's not even that great in Modern. And you get to choose what you take. I mean, obviously you don't get to choose the lands though. This is actually card advantage at the very least. Discarding hurts more than Stone Rain. Well, don't tell that to the people who hate Stone Rain. Basically becomes a 50-50 shot of a non-game without much investment. Probably not 50-50. Like basically for it to make it a non-game, you have to hit 2 lands. Let's say they have a 2-land hand, which is not like, because they're gonna probably mulligan most 1-land hands. I mean, okay, let's start with that. Let's start at 7-card hands. Your opponent would need to have 2 cards in their hand. Sorry, 2 lands in their hand. Only 2 lands in their hand. And then even from there, the odds of hitting the 2 lands are not good. It's very bad. It's way less than 50-50. If your opponent has 3 lands in their hand, then the odds of hitting... Well, I mean, if they hit to 2 lands, it's not even that big of a deal. They can play their land drop, and obviously they still have more draws to make from there. But there is one scenario that this will be backbreaking. That is mulligans. No matter how your opponent mulligans, if they mulligan to 5, if they mulligan to 6, it's gonna suck. If they mulligan to 5, that will be backbreaking. So that will be bad. They're already down on cards, and him to Tourach will just make it even worse. Grief is fine until some combo deck like Oops All Spells uses it to go off with protection. But that already happens in Living End. Living End plays Grief. Or they can play Grief if they want to. I've definitely faced it. To be fair, the kind of deck that would play him turn 2 would follow it up next with a frickin' Phyrexian Rager. So it's not that dangerous. I could see him being unbanned. This is complete. This doesn't belong on the ban list. TCG dude is like, 195 people watching, only 14 likes. Smash that like button. Yeah, hit the like button. I'm surprised how many subscribers this channel has now. This is just my spare junk channel. But thanks for joining me. Sanzi says, 1 land burn keep will be so devastating. Honestly, I'm not gonna feel sorry for the burn players. With him hitting, it's only 1 land with a swamp dark ritual in him. Whatever. They're down cards. The mana bases in Pauper are super suboptimal. This could force a lot more mulligans since a 1-lander would be dangerous. I don't think 1-landers would be dangerous. I think mulligans would be dangerous. I actually think if you knew him to Tourach was in the format, I would keep the 1-lander because more cards is more important. The odds of them hitting your 1 land are not very good. And if they do, whatever, you can still top deck out of it. But if you mulligan, then they just psychologically beat you already. They already psychologically took a card from you. And now this is like a 3-for-1. That's the way I look at it, at least. Keeping the stream on your smaller channel makes the stream cozy, to be honest. So what happens if I get to 10k subs? We're gonna like delete the channel and make a new one. We're gonna keep making the channel. We're gonna keep making the channel smaller. We gotta keep it small and cozy. 2 lands in hand is common in format which burn plays 17 lands and the 3 decks play bounce lands and fairies deck play a lot of cantrips to find lands. Yeah, they're gonna find their lands. Okay. This is unjustly banned. They should have given it a shot. This is not okay. And you could argue this is banned for fun, which is a weird thing to do in Pauper. I don't know. Do you guys care about fun? But I look at this objectively at the power level. It is not a ban-worthy card. This is not ban-worthy. Hitting a Dark Ritual Ham on turn 1 is a garbage play. Just absolute trash. Okay, now this is an interesting one. Sinkhole. This is common? Where was it printed common? Was the original beta an unlimited commons? Let's go look at it unlimited. Is this a common? How is this ever common? This makes not a shred of sense to me. Yeah, let's just blow up the lands at common. Why not? I can't find the... So this was literally common back in the day. What are they, out of their minds? So beta Sinkhole is... It's still $400. That's ridiculous. Okay! Yeah, common. Back when Magic was good and fun. Alpha and beta? That's ridiculous. I could have sworn it was uncommon in the ABU. It might have been. I mean, they because it looks like later they correctly adjusted the rarity level of this. Look, this is rare in the Masters Edition. Magic Online promos looks like it's pretty rare. Sinkhole rare in Eternal Masters. Okay, so they fixed the rarity on this card. I mean, this is ridiculous. So, like, what? They thought this was just as good as, like, Stone Rain at the time? Because Stone Rain existed in Alpha as well. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. They thought this is this is the same thing. This is ridiculous. Sinkhole, not powerful with all the Mox and Lotuses. Yeah, well... Whatever. I think they admit it wasn't like a really balanced set back then. I mean, we're not gonna go back and... Or maybe we should. We should evaluate. How balanced was Alpha and Beta? Drafting with land destruction at common sounds like the worst experience known to man. Back then, it was a different game, wasn't it? It was a completely different game. You had counter spells that screwed you over. Then you had land destruction. It's basically like the most unfun experience they could give you. And somehow this game took off. You look at the design of Magic the Gathering back then. It was terrible. It was a complete abomination. And you had infinite combos. It was I mean, the game was unplayable. Based on like modern Magic theory, the format with the game and format was just completely unplayable. That 4 card per... I think the largest innovations to the game were limiting any card to 4 and then creating sideboards. Oh, and then mulligans. Those were probably the 3 most impactful like rule changes known to Magic the Gathering. Because prior to that, it was just unplayable. Game balance was around you and your friends buying a starter deck and a few packs. I guess so. They balanced it with the starter decks. Cleansing Wildfire was common. Yeah, but at least you got a land out of it. You didn't get crap out of Sinkhole. There we go. We have a 20 card sideboarder. The sideboard should be 20 cards. I think it's okay at 15. You forget that the game was meant to be played with 120 decks, and you bet your deck/cards. It was very different and very incomparable to how the game is played today. Oh yeah, the ante. That's hilarious. You'd lose your Black Lotus. There must have been like a pretty good deck at the time that was not super expensive, that was just used to basically farm value out of other decks. Like a deck that didn't play Mox. Well, I don't know. I don't know how it works. I wasn't there. That must have created a lot of fights. Man. Betting with Pogs when I was in elementary school, like that was rage-inducing. Richard Garfield said balancing wasn't the point of ABU. He wanted cards to surprise and shock people when they were played so games were memorable. Oh yeah, you remember when Sinkhole blew up your land so you couldn't play your Sarah Angel anymore. A Dark Ritual into Hypnotic Spectre. That was a card. The Spectre. Where's the OG Spectre? We want the OG. Whoa. All right, let's read this one. Flying. An opponent damaged by Spectre. Love how they just name it by half its name. Must discard a card at random from his or her hand. Ignore this effect if opponent has no cards left in hand. Was that really a dilemma? Oh, I see. It's just they must discard a card at random from their hand. Well, what if they can't? Well, I guess they lose. Man, there was so many different ways to interpret Magic. If you can't do something, well, I guess you'll lose the game, huh? I remember doing this on Chandelar. I sort of want to play Chandelar just so I can make the Black Lotus Ancestral Recall deck where it's just, and then, or I don't know, also with maybe Wheel of Fortune. The game was not designed to work long term. It was supposed to be used as a distraction between D&D sessions if your character got killed. What a wonderful way to build around the D&D universe. We didn't really talk much about this card. Is it worth being banned? Absolutely. Keep it on the ban list. This card is disgusting. Wait a minute. This is legal in Legacy? Really? I am today years old and find out that this is actually legal in a competitive format. Other than Vintage. Oh, Vintage lets you play with the full 4, yeah, but they play with the Moxen and stuff. Very interesting. It's terrible in Legacy. Legal and garbage. Really? Sinkhole Pucks, let's go! Interesting. I mean, you have Wasteland. Why spend 2 mana? Well, you have extra Wastelands. You can never have enough land destruction in your deck. Did I have the wrong Wii music here? I do. There we go. That's the right one. Just in time. Wow, that was actually pretty smooth, I would say. The whole discussion for... Oh, wait a minute. We gotta thank our sponsors. I keep forgetting. Hey, there's good news. You gotta remind me of the sponsors when the second song track kicks in. I think that's the perfect time to throw in the sponsors, okay? So you guys are reminded, when the second soundtrack kicks in, that's sponsor time. Is it still the same deal? Sometimes it updates by 12 o'clock. Yeah, okay, so this, you have like a few hours left to take advantage of the deal of the week. Streets of New Capenna singles and sealed product 15% off at FusionGamingOnline.com. Today's sponsor. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu though at checkout for an additional 5% off, but also supports the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online, because you can rent any deck, any format you want. You wanted to play with Sinkhole so badly in Pauper, but they banned it on you? That's okay, you moved to Legacy. You can play your Sinkhole there. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_WBN. Excellent stuff. 8 o'clock AM Central Standard Time. Today's the first weekday of the week, so we got 4 more great days to go. You can always send me stuff at Nikachu PO Box 34085. Blah blah blah. I'll open it up on stream. And thank you so much to everyone supporting the channel by becoming members and hitting the super chats. The super chats are insane these days, just insane. So thank you so much. But the most importantly, thank you for showing up every single week. What would I say about Pauper if it wasn't for you guys? You catch everything. If it wasn't for you, Olga, I wouldn't even know Wild Slash deals damage to creatures. You're like a hive mind. You're like a hive mind. You're an extension of me in the morning. Without you guys, this show is nothing. So thank you very much for showing up every single morning. And so as usual, keep brewing up those coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.